governors ready to support it. Because if you recall, in the 2010 amendment, there was provision for the autonomy. But the local governments in each of the states of the federation voted against it, even though the National Assembly had passed it to be approved. But by the time the governors moved on their local government chairmen and others, they all refused autonomy. Completely refused. And you can see the fact is the local governments representatives of the people are actually the nomination of the governors. And so they play the governor's tune. They are not candidates nominated or elected by the people. It is the governors who are in charge of each state that virtually control, with a few caucus members, who occupies the offices. And so because they are directly responsible for enthroning the chairmen in the various local governments of their states, these local government chairmen have no voice. They are completely subservient to their governors. So even if the National Assembly, again, like they did before, come up with this need for local government autonomy, we may also end up with the governors refusing to accept that position. And so the local government chairman will say they don't want. So the problem is not actual. In fact, it's laughable to even be asking for local government autonomy. The 1999 Constitution, as amended, provided 3 tiers of government. They were promulgated into law the same day when that Constitution came into place. So what are we talking of autonomy? It's just that the governors have just become dictators, and the thing spread very widely by contagious principles. It's just like the president himself now deciding to say, okay, I won't hold local government elections. I will appoint caretaker committees in all the states of the federation. It's exactly what the governors are doing. There is nothing in the 1999 Constitution, as amended, that empowers the governors of a state to dip their hands into the purse of the local government.
Let's put you on pause there and get the reactions from Malam Sadiq. Do you get the perception of lack of trust between the state and the local government that has hurt what should have been ordinarily a progressive relationship?
No, actually, I want to correct what the last speaker had said, that there is nothing in the 1999 Constitution that allows a governor to dip his hands into local government funds. That is very far away from the truth. The framers of the 1999 Constitution, they took that Section 7 of the Constitution from the 1979 Constitution. And there is also the provision of Section 68 of the Constitution. That is the provision of Section 218 of the Constitution. And there is also the 4th schedule to the Constitution that allows the state governor to dip his hands into the funds of the local government. There's no doubt about it. Let me say, if Section 7 of the Constitution that allows the creation of the local government, the administration of the local government, and the finances of the local, and their own borders to be legislated on by the State House of Assembly, will be created by a law passed by the State House of Assembly. The finances of the local government will be controlled by the State House of Assembly by a law made by the State House of Assembly. Again, if you look at the distributable funds of government in Section 168 of the Constitution, it clearly says that any amounts to the credit, standing in the credit of the Federation account will be distributed to federal government, state government, and local government. But when the money moves from Abuja to the state, it is not going to be put in any account of the local government, but rather it is going to the account called Joint State Local Government Account, otherwise called JAC. Now, that account will be legislated on, according to the Constitution, by the federal, by the National Assembly.
Permit me to just come inside
and
here.
Then, if
you could just allow me to just, permit me to just butt in here. You said that JAC is, by the law, authorizes the state governors to dip their hands inside the pockets of the local government. But that seems to be the problem, and the local governments are asking that, no, this is broad day robbery, and we don't want that system in place again. What do you make of the laws that establishes the local governments in the past, as you mentioned, saying that they were mainly established, as parting gifts for retiring army officers, and then the state governors can now put their hands into the pockets of the local government? Shouldn't that law be amended?
Of course, it should be amended. But the problem is that the promulgators of the 1999 Constitution did not separate the accounts of the local governments from the accounts of the states. And perhaps that may have been the reason, in fact it is the reason, why state governments dip their hands into the money. There's no such account as local government account. If you tell me that there is a vertical and horizontal table of distribution of funds from the federation account, where you mention clearly the amounts that will go to the federal government, the amount that will go to the state government, and the amount that will go to the federal government. Unfortunately, you did not say on which account from the FAC, Federation Account, Federation Account Distribution, Federation Account something committee in Abuja here. If in that committee, the local government is not represented. It is the Commissioner of Finance of the 36 states that sit down with the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Finance and distribute the funds. You cannot tell me that my name is mentioned as a recipient of money, but I'm not represented when the money is distributed.
Okay, permit me to just butt in there. One other major question that's been asked is, who should be governing the local government? We're going to take a short break now. When we return, we'll focus on that very question and the Lagos LG elections, from the botched primaries to the present, and then what the future holds. Stay with us.